Hello everyone and welcome back to our Forge modding tutorial series. And today we're gonna take a look at items. First of all, for items we also need an initializing class. So we just create an initializing class by making a new class. I call it tutorial items. So that's basically it. But we need to declare that as a so-called event bus or event. It's basically not an event bus, but it's an event handler, and we need to subscribe it to the event bus. What that is and how it works, you don't actually need to know, but the thing is, it it provides the method, or not, it doesn't provide the method, but it gives you the possibility to make a method that is invoked as soon as Minecraft loads your mod. So what it basically is it is just a registry method which is invoked by Forge. So how do we subscribe it to the event bus? That's pretty easy. We just use another annotation by using add event bus subscriber, and there we need to pass in the bus parameter. We need to pass in uh, bus.mod mod. So now that should do it. So make sure to keep hitting strg, control and space, which is the autocomplete in Eclipse. If you didn't know, that also gives you the imports, so that's basically it. The class is now event handler for the event bus by Forge. Now let's make the method I talked about, where we can register our items. That needs to be a public static method, and it return type is void, and now you can call it like you want. It's like, I would call it register, I don't know, this just makes sense. So now we need to pass in as parameter. No, we don't need to pass it, but we need to declare a parameter that's called, or better to say, the data type is regulatory event. Regulatory events. Now I need to know how to write it. Regulatory. And now we need to get that away, to use the dot registry. That's a class. Registry event dot registry, and now we need to put in a so-called generic. That's basically the things in the brackets. It, in that case, we want to register items, so we need to put in item by net Minecraft item, and now we call the method, the parameter, we call it like event or something. That sounds good. So now that's just a method that does nothing by default. Now we need to declare it as a subscribe event. So just put add subscribe event above it. So that's it. Add subscribe event, and now Forge knows that you want to subscribe this method to an event. That's basically the thought behind those annotations. Now, before we go on with actually registering something in this method, we need to make our class, our actual like item class, you know. So we quickly make a new package that's called item, and then we make a new class. I call that although I call that item tutorial. I would say item tutorial is good. So there we go. Extends, we know that from the item groups, but now we need to extend item. So there's an arrow again. We make a new constructor. Whoop. Just now we need to put in properties here. I'm quickly making a new instance of properties. The properties are just like, yeah, they just properties to so that the item or Forge knows what properties the items have. Property is, for example, the item groups. So um, you can declare which item group, or for example a tool chip or container item or whatsoever. So that just is the new property class, and we want to add our item group to it so that it is shown in the item group. And now we need to reference the item tutorial groups, dot tutorial group or whatsoever, how you call it. So that's basically it. Okay, not good. That's basically it to add the item group. So you need to reference your class name, and you need to reference the variable through the class name. So you need to put there whatever you typed as class name and as name of your variable. So that's those lines basically set the item groups or item group of this item. That's it for the item class. Now we need to register, as I said before, register the actual item. For that we get the registry out of the event we got here. That returns iForge registry with the generic item. So we quickly save that. iForge registry item registry. Now we can basically register our item here by using the registry, but that wouldn't work because we need to set we basically need to set name to our item, and also we need to instantiate it in the current context. So we need to make a new variable that holds our item, which is item tutorial. Type item tutorial or just tutorial whatsoever. Tutorial equals new item tutorial. So that gives us a new instance of our tutorial item, and now we can just put it here, but as I said, we need to actually set the register name, which for we need the mod ID, which we can get through our tutorial mod class, which should hold the mod ID, and now we need to give it a name under which it is registered. So what it does, it's actually just saying, giving it an internal ID for Forge to handle your mod block or mod item in the registry. I would call that item tutorial. Man, I can't write today. You can also automate that all, but I don't know if you can or cannot. If you're familiar with the language, you can definitely do that. We did that in our UMod. You can check that out on GitHub. There it is, how you can automate those things and make it even easier than it is now. But we're not done yet. We want to give the tutorial item texture, and I already got the texture here. So you need to save your textures under assets, tutorial mod, textures item for items, and for blocks it's different. It's on the blocks, on the block, but we get to that in another video. Now what I now need to do is we need to make a model file for our item, otherwise it won't be rendered. For that we need to make a new package, also an asset package. That's called models item, or yeah, I know, I think it's item, yeah, models item. That should do it. And there we make a new file, which is a JSON. I call that item tutorial.json. Keep in mind it needs to be the same name as you gave it internally here. So the name of the JSON needs to be the same. I quickly press finish. It opens again in a notepad. I don't want that. Just put it in here. No. And it's also a JSON, so we need to stick with this with the JSON syntax, which means we need to have those brackets. We need to put in parent in that case, so that's the key of this attribute, and the parent is apparently item generated. There are some more some more pre-made JSON parents which you can use, such as item, I think bottom top or something, so that's easier for you to actually make model files for your items or for your blocks. And you can obviously create some parents yourself, so you can use your own model files as parents, which means you can have like a certain style of item, and you can make sub items of it and sub models of it over and over again by just overriding it, or like it's not overriding, but it's making a child JSON that can make things easier. So there we need to put in the textures array or textures block. Call that textures block. Don't forget those commas behind the end of the line, because that actually says end of the line. So textures, and there we make a new block, and there we make a attribute that's called layer 0. That's important. Now we can define our texture here. That's apparently tutorial mod double points. That's just our mod ID again, tutorial mod. That's the namespace we are currently in, and then we need to give him item tutorial to define the textures top we are in. That's item, and the name is tutorial of the texture. The texture needs to be a portable network graphic, so PNG file. Remember that, and that should do it for now. That's basically it. Now you have a texture, and you should have an item, and you should be able to execute those things. Now you see that we have our tutorial item here with the texture I added in. It doesn't have a name currently. We didn't do that, but you can add it to the like JSON, and we have our tutorial tab, which is basically the item group we did the last tutorial, and it also has a localized name and a non-localized, of course, also. So thanks for watching. This was our tutorial for items. I hope I could help you. See you in the next videos. Have a great time. Group, which is actually tutorial item groups dot, is it that way? Tutorial item groups, isn't it? Tutorial item groups. Oh, I mistyped that. Holy crap. Tutorial item groups. That is some holy. Now tutorial item groups doesn't find it. What's that? Tutorial item groups dot helvete. Tutorial. Still did not refactor it. Update references.